So when parole was abolished in '94 and effective January 1, 1995, there was a group of prisoners who were still in prison and who remained eligible for parole and came to be known as old law prisoners because they had been sentenced under the old law when they were still eligible for discretionary parole. And they really got caught by the changes that were made to how parole actually operated. And whereas in the past, people who had rehabilitated themselves and served 10 plus years, I mean people who committed serious crimes like Pam did, for example, 15 years, they had a reasonable shot of getting parole, say between 15 and 20 years after having served 15 and 20 years. Once the new parole boards came in and were installed and started implementing the parole program after the abolition of parole, they got incredibly stingy about letting people out. And the parole grant rate dropped down to single digits, and I mean the low single digits, like between 1.5% and 3%. When truth in sentencing took effect in 1995, when discretionary parole was abolished going forward,
Right.
far fewer people got life sentences. Now, to get a life sentence is pretty unusual in Virginia. Most Americans believe in second chances. Inmates who had done extremely well in prison were by any reasonable measure rehabilitated and no risk to public safety if they were to be released, because we wanted them to be, if you will, poster children for the problem of parole in Virginia basically not being granted to people who by any reasonable measure have served enough time and ought to be given a second chance. I think most people are willing to give people second chances.
Yeah, she was going
I think for her, she never would have gotten a life sentence under the new law for what she did. Never. Because she didn't have any other record. She would have gotten a term of years. I mean, it would have been long, but there's a good chance it would have been less than what she actually served. And a lot of my old law prisoner clients have served more time than they would have served if they had been convicted under the new law and sentenced under the guidelines. She's definitely turned her life around. And
I worked hard to find myself, but it wasn't easy. It really wasn't.